Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. How you all doing? Just gonna get my screen up. Here we go. Hi Chada, how you doing, buddy? Wonder what people are up to today. Hi Julie. Hi guys. Oops, I've lost my own stream, so I want to see what's going down. Let's see if we can get back up. New haircut, got rid of my hair. Hi Sharon. Hi Canu, just trying to get on him. Coco, hi. Hi to Chrisu. Oh, that's not working. Let's try again. Get this up. You're just fed Sniffles. John, I take it Sniffles is your cat. Just guessing. Sniffles is your cat. Just give me a sec. Let's try and get this my own stream up so I can see what's going down, what people are saying. Hi, Sample Lever. Are you watching cricket? I was watching that a little while ago. Let's get this. It's not coming up. Let's try again. Yeah, I was watching a bit of the cricket. I'll probably just, as usual, answer your questions. We'll talk about a little bit about transfers again. I mean, Andy's put out a very good video today about JOAO Felix. We need Douglas Costa. He is a genius. John, you lost me, buddy. Talking Klingon. Let's try and get my screen up again because I can't. But who's that? Spencer's and Mark. Afternoon. How you doing? So I had to hide away in my lad's bedroom because yeah, my wife and kids are around. My wife's doing some work. Normally I sit in the kitchen. You get a lot of space there, nice bit of light. But my wife's she took a call and for work, and she's still on it. So hiding away. Hopefully my kids are quiet. Who's going to win the cricket today? Really tough call, Sample Lever. It's I think it's 50-50. Abhishek, go and have a look at Andy's video that he's done today. Well, I can't get my thing up. My laptop don't want to work, so Ray Bear, you and the dog. I said, no, Spencer. My wife's doing some work. She's taking a conference call, so I had to come up here. Why do people want Felix? That's a question from Stephen Paul Dempster. Go and watch Andy's video. There'll be plenty of reasons. There's about 7 minutes worth of reasons why people want Felix. English Master Pep staying. That's wow! What a surprise! What a surprise! Yeah. Nigun chance of Man City still signing 50-50. We just don't know where we are at the moment. Let's put up some news. Who's the high potential, Leroy or Felix? It's really hard to say because, look, let's be honest. We've seen Leroy play for 2 seasons. And I said at the end of the season that Leroy should have been at the level of... Leroy should be at the level of Sterling. Leroy should be knocking on the door of Ballon d'Or. Leroy should be, right now, in my opinion, one of the top 10 attacking players in the world. Okay? Maybe in the top 5. I just don't think he's pushed on. You know, he's got some decent numbers again, but Pep's not picking him to start games lately. I really think you know, he's got to sort himself out because he should be so much better than he is. You know, he's not made that leap forward, and that's my disappointment. Hi Robert, how you doing, buddy? So, yeah, as Andy said, you know, my usual is some transfer chat, whatever's in the news, and your questions, and I'll answer them. So, hey, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Brian, yeah, Leroy, will he stay? Hi, Blue Heart. It's really hard to tell. Because, well, okay, let's talk about Leroy. Okay, let's talk about Leroy. All this junk from Bayern Munich to unsettle the player, to tap him up. I mean, they're basically tapping him up out in the open. You know, they're not even doing it privately. They're doing it. They were doing it very, very publicly. So that was massively disappointing from them. And then they turn around and say, we'll offer you 80 million euros for him. You what? 80 million euros? You know, that won't even buy his old hairstyle. So, yeah, I mean, Herner's saying that 80 million euros is insane. Look, Bayern have just paid 80 million euros for Fernandes, you know, a defender, okay? And no way you're going to tell me that Leroy isn't worth a lot more than Hernandez. You know, Leroy, in my book, he's right now, if you're talking about, okay, I think the Jadon Sancho 100 million euros is exaggerated. But if you're talking Jadon Sancho at 70 to 80 million euros, are you going to tell me Leroy Sane is not as good as Jadon Sancho? Miles ahead of Jadon Sancho. Miles. Okay? Leroy's done it for 2 seasons. I mean, last season wasn't brilliant, but he's still got some good numbers. Leroy's done it for 2 seasons in the Premier League. Tough old division. He scored, I think, in each season more than 10 goals, 10 assists in the league. He got, was it the Young Player of the Season last year? He's won the Premier League twice. He's won the Carabao Cup twice. He's won the FA Cup once. You know, the guy's walking around with 5 trophies in 2 seasons, putting up some good numbers. So it's very, very interesting. So yeah, I mean, so for Bayern Munich to pay 80 million for Hernandez and then refuse to go over 80 million for Leroy Sane is, forgive the pun, it's insane. Absolutely insane. Leroy Sane has got to be worth 120 million quid. Okay? If Coutinho's going for 140, if Ndombele was going for 120 or whatever, no one's going to tell me Leroy Sane is worth less than 100 million quid. Absolute joke. So, you know, it looks like Bayern were trying to unsettle the player and get him on the cheap, get the player to want to leave, and then they could get him for 70, 80 million euros, or so they hoped, when his real price is at least 120, maybe even 150. So, as I said, they tried to unsettle him, get him to want to go there, and he, you know, apparently doesn't. So they're not offering enough money. So Leroy to Bayern Munich, no chance. Robert, Sarri going to Juventus. Well, I mean, this is going to start a lot of stuff happening. Sarri going to Juventus, it's all rumour, conjecture. But if I was Sarri, would you want to stay at Chelsea? He's only got, I think, 1 more season on his contract. I wouldn't want to stay. All the rubbish he's been through this season. He's got his medal. He's got a bit of wedge. So, you know, maybe go back to Italy. You know, he's 60 years old and go back to what he knows, where he's a little bit more respected than he is in England. Hi, section 20. Look, Stephen, you say Felix is too much. The problem is now, you know, the transfer market is crazy. Someone has a good season or half a good season, they banded about at 60, 70 million quid. So, you know, you're going to have to keep paying big money to get the best players. And if Felix is going to carry on the way he's developing, if he's going to carry on developing the way he's currently going, then, you know, maybe that will buy this player. Look, I'll give you an example. Virgil van Dijk. People thought it was madness for Liverpool to pay 75 million for Virgil van Dijk. Absolute madness. Now, if you ask people, is Virgil van Dijk worth 75 million quid? Would you pay 100 million for him for the way he's playing? I'm sure plenty of people out there, plenty of doubters, would happily pay 100 million for Virgil van Dijk and pop him at the centre back for City. So, and other clubs. So, you know, it's only after the event, in hindsight, you're going to decide whether someone is right. And as Andy says, Felix just looks like a Pep player. He's going to work hard. He's going to you know, run hard. He can score goals. He can create goals. He can pass. He'll track back. You know, what more do you want? You know, and I think he's only, what, 19 and a half? He's young enough to, you know, got so much, 10 or 15 years ahead of him. So he's got all that potential. Get the best out of him. You know, so it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens with him. Let's talk about so yes, so Sarri going to Juventus. That looks like, I feel that's going to happen. Yeah, so let's keep going on what Andy said. So, you know, Benfica apparently saying there's been some bids in, concrete bids. Someone's met his buyout clause. Who's going to throw ridiculous amounts of money at it? Probably Man United. Someone else has met it, put on a good price, good deal, and but they're offering to leave him at Benfica for another season. Benfica may see that as beneficial to them. It's certainly beneficial to the lad, I think, to get one more season where he's number one. If he comes to City right now, is he going to be number one, even if Sane goes? I'm not so sure. You know, centre forward, he's not going to push Aguero out. And Pepper said last season our best attacking lineup was Bernardo, Sergio and Raheem. So Felix won't get as much game time as he'd probably want right now, and as probably he needs at being at still 19 years old. So I think that's going to be it's going to be very interesting. And you know, Sane's got a couple of years at least left on his contract. Julio, I think he got signed a 4-year contract at 60 grand a week with City, 4 or 5 years, 60 grand a week, and so that's why it needs to be renegotiated, because the level, you know, you got people like Danny Drinkwater at Chelsea on 120 grand a week, and Leroy really should be on 120 to 150 grand a week. Leroy's got, you know, we don't know how concrete these families' issues are with his wife, with his mother. We just know they're involved in, you know, but we don't really know. So, and Ndombele, let's talk about Ndombele. So, Ndombele, you know, his name has come up again. Now, it's been very interesting that Ndombele's name hasn't been mentioned, really, in any transfer tittle-tattle for quite a few weeks. So, why is that? You know, after months and months in the early part of the season, Ndombele's name was heavily mentioned, heavily linked, and we were going to go for him. And now his name for a few months was not mentioned, and we were looking at Bruno Fernandes, we're looking at RODRI, we were looking at Rice and whatever. And why is Ndombele's name mentioned again? Now, Ndombele's name may be mentioned as it could be from the City side, just to push a deal for RODRI over the line. You know, just to get his club to think, oh, hang on, you know, RODRI wants to come to City, he wants to play under Pep, I think he said so. So I think Bruno Fernandes does as well. But let's look at RODRI. So let's say City want RODRI. There's been a bit, you know, up and down with his club. His club's saying he's not going, and he says, well, I want to leave. You know, and the club says someone's going to match his buyout clause, which is about 70 million euros. So the feeling is that maybe, you know, throwing out Ndombele's name out there might make RODRI's club, Atletico, think we're not going to get this, or you know, the player's definitely unsettled. So it might be an indication to the player as well that he has to push a little bit with Atletico. But look, end of the day, hi Sky Blue Oz. At the end of the day with RODRI, if his buyout clause is 70 million quid or 70 million euros, if we pay the buyout clause, then surely he can leave. So I'm not sure why Ndombele's name has been mentioned again. Is it to push that? How I don't know how it pushes that over the line. It's very, very, very odd. Let's say. Just look at birthdays. It was Sergio Aguero's birthday. Was it yesterday or the day before? And apparently he's got pretty young thing of a girlfriend, so no wonder he's smiling. So yeah, okay. Let's talk about a bit about Liverpool. I mean, they won the Champions League. I've not said anything about that. Well, you know, Spurs were rubbish. Good luck to Liverpool, but their fans, you know, just they can't appreciate what they've won. And they can't focus on that. They look at it as an opportunity to have a pop at City fans. You know, they won the Champions League. They're on Twitter, on social media, having a pop at City timelines. They had the parade, and it has to be talking about City's parade. Now, look, let's look at the evidence. The police, apparently, it was the Merseyside police said, "Hi Bernard, how you doing, mate?" It was apparently the Merseyside police said there were 750,000 fans along Liverpool's parade. Now, I think the City Council themselves said it was 500,000 fans. But look, this is the same Merseyside police who, with hundreds of hours apparently of video footage, could not arrest one single person that attacked the City bus. They couldn't get any of the people that were jumping up and down on their police vans launching missiles at the City bus. So can you trust them? Can you believe them? Sadly, I don't think they've got any much credibility left after that episode. Phil Thompson, stuff Phil Thompson, Robert, stuff him. So anyway, so you got this parade, okay? So, you know, the City Council say 500,000. Some other people say 250,000, 300,000. Dan Rohn from the BBC, one of the very few journalists that's blocked me on Twitter, he blocked me for now. You know, what a just asking him questions, because the funny thing is with these journalists, you ask them something about their history or recent past where they've made some really big faux pas, said some very inappropriate things. They want to insult you or block you. And Dan Rohn was one of the same. He blocked me for asking him a question about something he'd said recently, which was absolutely unsavoury or ridiculous. That's just the way it is. So Dan Rohn said 750,000. But look at Liverpool's population. Liverpool's population is, you know, whatever figures you want to believe, is 250, 300,000. Merseyside population is about 500,000. So you're going to tell me 500,000 people, everybody on Merseyside, even the Everton fans, all the Liverpool fans, the 100,000 plus that were in Madrid, all those came back, all the Everton fans, all the fans from other clubs, all went to the parade, and then a few 100,000 more who didn't live in Liverpool all turned up at the parade. Can't believe that, you know. If they did, you'd have had loads of trains, you'd have had loads of traffic problems, coaches, buses, cars and whatever coming in. And if you look at Mersey travel, they were talking about the tunnels, I think, and they said there's less traffic than we expected. Okay, less traffic than we expected at the parade, so the routes are all clear. So do you honestly believe that, you know, all the 750,000 people suddenly piled into Liverpool city centre for the parade? Sorry, I just think it's an exaggeration. So yeah, absolute rubbish. So let's look at your comments, guys. Let's go back to some comments and give some hellos and shout outs. Let's have a look. Yeah, section 20 Mersey Tunnel, Red Media. Look, you got to never believe a sky. So look, did you see those videos of the guys pickpocketing? You know, someone at the parade. Look, you're not late, Dr. Ari, we're still going. I've still got plenty of time to go. But look at some of the disgusting behaviour of the fans. I mean, you know, I'm sure you'd have seen on social media, and I'm surprised Jim. Sorry, I've turned that volume down. I'm surprised Jim White didn't spend. I'm not watching the cricket, Mukund. You know, I was earlier on, but I'm answering your questions. I'm still here. I've not even got the cricket on. I've got my own thing on my own YouTube, so I can see. Because on the phone, when you're looking on the phone, just on the phone, you only see about 2 or 3 messages. But obviously, I want to talk. It's not wrong with the Wi-Fi. It's not. There's no problem. Check your own Wi-Fi, Andy. No, I don't remember anybody else complaining. Julio, you got to be careful what you say, mate. Hey, Asa, how you doing, buddy? Asa Strambler. Yeah, a lot of people want LIGT, and me too. I mean, I want LIGT. He's 19 years old. He's a leader on the pitch. I don't think I'm having any problems because YouTube hasn't come up and said that I'm having any problems. And when you've got a problem with your Wi-Fi, YouTube comes up and tells you you've gone off. Will we sign JOAO, Felix? Ryan, we just don't know. We really don't know whether we're going to sign JOAO, Felix. The indications are we're going to sign some players. We all know that. We need to get some players in. And it looks like we're going to get centre back. It looks like we're going to get an attacking player. I think we need an attacking player. Whether Sane stays or goes, I think we still need an attacking player. And JOAO Felix, if we don't buy him this season, can you imagine if he makes another leap forward? His buyout clause might be 120 million this season. You never know. Next season, it might be 180 million. Same with happened with Kylian Mbappe. Now, City were very interested. They wanted to pay about 40 million quid, or between 40 and 60 million quid for Kylian Mbappe when he was when he went to Monaco, and they said no. A year later, the guy's worth 200 million euros. So, and that's the risk you take in not getting players early, but also you take a risk in buying players too early who haven't developed enough, and you're buying them on potential. Brian Gardner, I've got to read this out. English Mastiff, my Wi-Fi is driven by Steam. What's this, Stephen? Can someone tell me the name of the Chelsea holding midfielder? Well, go to Anton. Ndombele or RODRI. Look, the one I've seen the most of is Ndombele. The one I followed the most is Ndombele. You want a season pass, season card? Ring them up. That's the only thing you can do. I don't think the City website is fantastic. People have had a lot of problems. Ndombele, for me, I love Ndombele. I've said this before. He looks like, for me, like Yaya Toure in his pomp, but a Yaya Toure who will actually track back and defend. You had issues with Yaya, but I mean, Ndombele, to me, he can be that box to box. He's got a lot of pace. He puts his foot in. He does a lot of good work box to box, like Yaya did in his prime. So I think I liked Ndombele from what I've seen. But it's media talk again. And generally, what happens is one media outlet says something, and then everybody else copies. So suddenly, one poor journalist says we're going for Ndombele, everybody piles in. One journalist says we're going for RODRI, everybody piles in. Now, I saw some stuff at the weekend. Now, one journalist put something out. Sorry, I've got to send. I'm just going to send a message, guys, because I'm getting some messages. There we go. So I'm just going to send this. Sorry, guys, just bear with me. I've got some complete arse giving me grief. Anyway, let's bang that, close it. Get back to you. Another drink, Walter, if you ask me. Yeah, well, it could well be. Go on, guys, ask some questions. Rodri's like 2 meters tall. How is he not? You're not physical. Look, we've seen people like Kante. Okay, Kante's absolutely, for me, still the best defensive midfielder in the world. Okay, he's not a big guy. He's about 5'5". He's like Claudio Gomez. He's tiny. Okay, you don't need to be a massive physical specimen to be able to make it in the Premier League. We've seen that with Aguero. He's quite petite. We've seen that with David Silva. We've seen that with Raheem Sterling. We've seen that with Bernardo Silva. You know, and I hope we see that with Eric Garcia. You don't have to be a big player. You can be a slight player, and I think that's making all the difference now. You know, slight players can be top players. We've seen that, and I think that trend is just going to continue. No, I don't have any problems with Wi-Fi. I had one call, but you know, sadly, when you're doing stuff on your phone, if someone calls you, you can't just block the calls. I've got to keep it open for emergencies. There you go, Julius Caesar. Silva is a centre midfielder. He can thrive, but DM, you need to do the dirty work, so you need to be physical, just like Fernandinho. Look, Fernandinho isn't a massive specimen. He's a solid guy. But look, as I repeat, look at Kante. Kante isn't a big guy, okay? Kante isn't a big guy, but he's still, for me, the best in the world. Will Sane leave or stay? Anton, we don't know. And as Andy's said many times, what happens with Sane will determine what happens with our transfer business this summer. Sane stays. We don't desperately need another wide man. Sane goes. We may need another wide man. Plus, we should have about 80 million quid in our pot to spend. So, JOAO Felix looks like a really good. But Kante's not a CDM. I beg to differ, GTR. Kante's a CDM. He's now playing as a central midfielder or a wide attacking midfielder for Chelsea. But that's because that's Sarri's choice. He's played for Leicester. He was a defensive midfielder. He won the Premier League title as a defensive midfielder. He won the Player of the Year as a defensive midfielder. When he went to Chelsea, same again, defensive midfielder. It's only this season that with the purchase of Jorginho that he's been forced out wide by Sarri. Gundogan, and I hope Gundogan doesn't leave, because we've seen in this City team, because it's so good, he's afforded a little bit more time and space than he would be if we were not a good team. So the rumours are that City won't let him go, even if he doesn't sign a new contract. They want him to stay, let him go for free in a year's time. They'll be quite happy with that, because they'll have had 4 years decent service out of him for about 22 million quid, which is, I think, is good value. And it gives, keeping him for another season gives somebody else more time to come through. Somebody like maybe Luiz, maybe Douglas Luiz has a season at City. Maybe he can come through. Claudio Gomez, I think, is too young right now and is not developed the way I would hoped, with the rumours about his potential and the way the PSG fans would tell me how wonderful they thought it would be. I'm still getting shit. Gundogan for 30 million. I don't think he even cost that much, really. I think he was about 22 million. Maddison from Leicester, it's another. But the sad thing is, Pardo Hawks. The sad thing is, it's people just throwing names out there, and a lot of people names are linked with 2 or 3 of the top 6 clubs. So they're linked with people like Liverpool. They're linked with City. They're linked with Spurs and United, and we just can't trust the media. If 90% of media stuff is rubbish, what can you believe? Jack Grealish, I reckon, Spencer and Mark, that Jack Grealish will stay at Villa. I really do. It's his boyhood club. They're back in the Premier League. I think if they hadn't got in the Premier League, then he'd have gone for sure. But now they're in the Premier League, I can see him staying for another season. He's still young. He's their captain. You know, it's almost everything he could hope for. And maybe he wants to see what Villa do next season. You know, if Villa can invest like Wolves did and put in a good season like Wolves, he might think, well, why do I want to leave? You know, and he can see them in, if Villa can get in the top 10 next season, maybe the Grealish will look at it and say, we can push on the following season. I want to stay. Now, look at Harry Kane. He's at Spurs. They've won out. Again, they've won nothing. And he's been on the top of his game almost for the last, was it 3 seasons? You know, he scored a ton of goals, but they've won nothing. So he's still at Spurs because he thinks they will win something. He thinks, I mean, also they're his boyhood club. They're his club. So, Catwoman, this is another Man City tracky. So, yeah, but my point is, Jordan, that Harry Kane is staying with Spurs, okay, even though they've won nothing. So I'm expecting Jack Grealish to stay with the club he supported since he was a child at Villa for at least one more season, just to see how Villa do. And if Villa do good enough, then I can see him carrying on. Let's go to some of your questions. Mukun accusing me of dressing as Catwoman, cheeky so-and-so. Exactly, English Mastiff. Gundogan was hardly out of the starting 11 last season. He started a lot of games at the end, especially when Fernandinho was injured, then Gundogan was your man. And sometimes we played Fernandinho, Gundogan and David Silva. I don't think we were great when they played those 3 at the same time. So, let's have a look. Another one, Jack asking about Ndombele. And Ndombele, we'll wait and see. His name's only just been mentioned again recently. So, you know, I just think his name has been mentioned as a red herring, is maybe to force something else through. Yeah, Andy's been talking about, we could sign Toby Alderweireld as covers, 25 million quid. I don't think he's that expensive. I'm not sure if Spurs, exactly what happened with Toby in his contract. Oh, I'm not dressing up as Catwoman for the meetup, Mukund. Yeah, so Toby Alderweireld. So I'm not sure if it's up to another club to come in and get Toby for 25, or whether Spurs can exercise an option. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it is. Someone can come in and buy him for 25 million quid. He's what, 31 years old. If Otamendi leaves, then I think Toby Alderweireld is a perfect person to buy. Although it would be slightly going against the grain that we're now buying young players with potential and sell on values if needs be, rather than older players. Yes, he's too old, but Otamendi's what, 31, so he's similar age. We've got the money. I would rather get Mathis de Ligt, obviously, and let Eric Garcia come through and go into next season with Stones, Mathis de Ligt, Eric Garcia, and Eric Laporte, using Fernandinho or Philippe Sandler if we're pushed. And if Danilo stays, he can play there. So I'd quite like having a few versatile players like that. So yeah, we'll talk about the meetup. We've done Phil Thompson's tweet. We've gone past that. We did that a long time ago. Pay attention, and you'd hear about it. So yeah, Andy's talking about the meetup. The meetup is going to be hopefully sometime over the summer. We'll have a meetup in Manchester, maybe at the Etihad, soon. So if you want to come to the meetup, just send us an email to mcfcfantv@gmail.com. Andy's just put the address up, mcfcfantv@gmail.com. Let us know if you're up for the meetup. So no, the stream wasn't down, mate. The stream wasn't down. We talked about him a long time ago. Well, if you paid attention, we were talking about him when we talked about the crowds in Liverpool, and you were commenting about the crowds in Liverpool too. So, you know, maybe open your ears and don't focus on the screen. Julio Castillo, has anyone seen the Man City Fan TV transfer podcast? Is guest good or whack? Is guest good? I don't know what that means, Julio. Yeah, English Mastiff. Phil Thompson is Phil Thompson's opportunity to open his mouth. Sorry, guys, I might have hung down. So I'm just going to send another. Everybody wants to call me. Right now, everybody wants to call me. I'm a popular man. People looking at my bald head, my big ears, my big nose, bent nose. It's been broken about 3 times. I don't need any rivalry, Kiam. You know, the best person will win. That's the way it goes. I'm going to give you another 10 minutes, guys. So we've been on for a while. Hey, Cameron, you got your ticket for Vinny's testimonial. Fantastic, good news. And I haven't seen you wearing the hat yet. Come on, Cameron. We need a picture of you wearing the Me Julie hat that you won us in a prize, in a free prize in our prize draw. I think that was when we had 8,000 for hitting 8,000 subs. So, yep, Cameron, I want to see a picture of you. Cameron's got the hat. He hasn't sent us a picture. You know, we need that Cameron wearing the hat. We need a picture of that. We'll stick it out there on Twitter. Let's have a look. Somali Dalad, Liverpool Premier League champions 2019-2020. Mate, come on. You know, what is it with Liverpool fans and predictions? Yeah, you got one right eventually. You know, you shoot everywhere, yeah, and eventually you'll get something right. Last season it was 6 in Kiev, didn't happen. It was JOAO last season. Look around Christmas time. So much on social media. You know, you've all these songs that Guardiola, you know, move over Guardiola, you know, Liverpool had taken over, or whatever it was. It's your year, you're going to win the league, you were 7 points clear, it was your year, and guess what? It wasn't your year, you didn't win the league. You've been waiting 29 years to win that league title. And I tell you what, guys, you know, we won 4 in the last 8 or 9 years, and it sure does feel sweet, you know, really does. Yeah, Toby struggled, Sky Blue was, with a lot of injuries. But it'd be nice, you know, I understand you're worried that with Vinny's injuries, but if Toby's, you know, he's going to have it's up to the club. You know, if they want him, they'll take everything into account, and he'll get a medical, a really thorough going over. So if he's fit enough, he'll come. Brian Gardner says, I wish, hope Foden gets more game time. I think he will. You know, I think Pep said as much. I mean, Foden got a lot of game time, albeit a lot of it was in cup games. But he had a game towards the end of the season where he started, and that was a surprise to everybody. So Foden will get his game time next season. I think he'll just go up and up and up. I think it would help Foden to develop. And in staying with Pep, I think that he's going to carry on developing. And I think for the next World Cup, Foden will be there. I mean, he should, in my opinion, be there for the Euros next season. Let's have a look at this question. So Sergio, hi Ray, is it just me, or do you reckon Zaha could do a job for us because of the style of football we play? To be honest, Sergio, that's a clock. Okay, so I'm gonna actually. I'll tell you, I watched Aladdin when we were in France. So I'm thinking of growing one of those top knot ponytail kind of things. My wife's not impressed, but I quite fancy it. You know, growing a little ponytail, top knot. You know, putting up one of those. I don't know what you call. That looks quite dodgy, doesn't it? So I want to look like the genie in Aladdin. Because when I was younger, I did. When I was younger. Look like the genie in Aladdin. Yeah, Garcia in the squad next season too. So Zaha, look, Sergio, a lot of players can play in this City team. A lot of players. I think Zaha can, because what he's required to do is stay wide, take people on, score a few goals, put some crosses in, and track back. Now you do all that, and you can pass the ball as well. You've got a decent chance in this City team. You know, you've got to be good enough, and yeah, Zaha could well do a decent job for City. I think if he'll work harder than Sane, Would we pay 80 million for him? I really don't think so. Where do you keep your lamp? Wouldn't you like to know? Need the magic carpet? Put a rug on my head. Mukund. I ain't doing that again, Mukund. You looked dodgy when I did it the first time. 3 wishes, Ray. Spencer and Mark. 3 wishes. If you're only giving me sporting wishes, let's just do sporting wishes and not talk about, you know, ridding the world of evil. Hey, Mukund. Mrigan. Ray's Will Smith. I can't rap like Will Smith. I can dance better. I used to dance better than Will Smith, and I did in my heyday. I look like that genie. Trust me. So my wife tells me. If our centre backs were company Van Dijk, yeah, Robert, it'd be great. But Van Dijk's not here. He's not coming. It'd be great if it was Laporte and LIGT. I think that's quite good as well. Were the worst season Real Madrid or Man U? Well, it depends on your standards. Real had a poor season on their standards. Man United's recent performances, they had an average season compared to what they've done in the last 5 or 6 years. Real, at least, are in the Champions League next season. Ponytail. Well, I used to have a ponytail, Rigank. Just don't wear the curly boots. Yeah, I tell you what. Once I was playing a charity game, and I turned up with white boots, and this was about 10 or 12 years ago. White boots, and I remember some guy. He said to me, "You better play well if you're going to wear white boots." And I was all right. I had an injury, had a problem with my Achilles that day, but I played average. But he said, you know, I played at left back. You know, who plays at full back with white boots? I ain't singing any Bernardine. Sing the Aladdin song. It's a bold new world. I can't sing. I used to dance. We've been interested, also MCFC 16 Twitch streaming. We have been interested in FERPO from Real Betis. He looks good, but would prefer someone like Alex Teller from FC Porto. Well, we did a video last year. I know Andy did a video on Junior FERPO, and I think I did one on him as well. So at the time, the rumours were that he was going to Madrid, but now it looks like the rumours are we're not going for a left back. We're going to go with Mendy and Zinchenko. So we'll wait and see. Exactly, Sky Blue was. It's been Liverpool's year since the inception of the Premier League, and they've never won it. 29 years, well over £1 billion spent, and they've won no Premier League. So Andy's off. Yeah, well, Sky Blue was. Yeah, I don't remind me of Rocky Sanchez Cruz. That was the time in which City used to throw too much money at things, and you know, Rocky Sanchez Cruz was a case in point. We were buying players. We had no proper strategy in those days with Cookie. We love Cookie, the Cookie monster. But, you know, as our chief executive, but, you know, the strategy was wrong. We were just buying players for the sake of it, throwing money left, right and centre, overpaying on contracts, struggling with FFP because of all that. And yeah, we bought Rocky Sanchez Cruz for about 80 million quid, and the guy was injured. So, I mean, yeah, it was pretty poor. You'd think they won the World Cup? Absolutely. Couple more minutes, guys. They'll get us up to about 45 minutes. The Sane. Yeah, you missed it all, the Sane. You missed it all. You can watch it back later. We talked a little about transfer targets, talked about our meetup. Hopefully in the summer we'll have you know, at least 10 or 12 people, I think. I don't think we're gonna have a really massive meetup. Keep it quite intimate so that we can interview all the fans that do turn up. And if you've got 30 people, 40 people, you know, and you spend an hour and a half, let's say, how many people can you interview in any depth? So I think, you know, we'd like to spend time interviewing people and, you know, chatting about the season gone, the season coming, transfers, and whatever's going on at the time. So I think that'd be good. If you want to come to the meetup, email us at mcfcfantv@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can, we'll let you know as things develop and as we decide what we're going to do. Andy tells us Pep is leaving. What do you think? I don't think Pep's leaving. Certainly not this season. He's got everything he could possibly want at City. Why go somewhere else? He's got Cheeky and Ferran. He's got Khaldoon. He's got almost as much money as he really wants, because FFP is not a big problem for us. Robert, when is the meetup? We haven't decided, Robert. Once we've got probably in a week or two, once we've had a lot of the responses, we'll have a chat with people and we'll pick a date, hopefully in July or early August. Initially, I thought the bank holiday weekend in August, but season's already started. So we'll chat with Andy, we'll chat with you guys, the ones who have responded, and see what we're going to do. So, do I think Pep will leave? As I said, we've got Ferran, we've got Cheeky, Khaldoon, we've got lots of money, we've got great structure, players who are coming through. Why would Pep give up all that and take a chance somewhere else? His family are settled, the kids are growing up, Manchester loves him, he loves Manchester. Why go to Turin? Why go to Italy? Right now, I don't think so. I can see Pep being here for at least the 2 years that are remaining on his contract, possibly another one. I would love it if Pep stayed another 3 years, get a couple of more leagues under his belt, get that Champions League, then move on. DNA fully imprinted in the club, and we will go forward from strength to strength. Exactly, yeah. So, Mbappe's going to cost us 200 million. Would he come, or would he go to Real Madrid? Guys, you've been lovely today. It's time for me to shoot. I'm going to take my wife to the airport. That's not the airport, the train station in a minute. She's going away to work for the week, away from home. So, if you like the video, click like. Yeah, Stephen. It's ridiculous that people are saying Pep's going to leave. And all these people are saying he's going to leave on this day. He's going to got this contract. It's all signed. It's all. When it doesn't happen, I want them to come and apologise. They'll come up with some BS. Okay, they'll come up with some BS as an excuse why it didn't happen, and to exonerate themselves and say, no, we got our information right, but something came up to stop it happening. Basically, my final point is today, journalists can say whatever they want, as long as they have that caveat that it's a rumour, our sources say, or whatever. And then they can, if it doesn't happen, they can say, oh, something changed. Or, for instance, City were going to buy this player, but he's put his wage demands up to a ridiculous level, and City pulled out. But the information was true. We have no idea of knowing whether that's true or not. And I really wish at some point some players and clubs would come out and sue these media outlets and put them in their place. Guys, got to disappear, almost 50 minutes. Love you all. Take care. Have a good day. Andy will be doing some more transfer videos. Fantastic one today. If you haven't seen it already, go and check it out. And yeah, BS